Hello everybody, welcome back to Expedition Homestead. I hope you are having a beautiful day. We are downstairs spending a little bit of time with our seedlings this afternoon as we've just about hit up the point where we should fertilize them. Hence why I'm making today's video. As I do things in the garden throughout the entire year, I make some awesome educational and hopefully a little bit fun content for you all. So if you have not yet joined the community, I highly recommend it. We've got all sorts of stuff coming out all the time. And for our returning viewers, I want to thank you so much for the continued support. It means the world to me. Thank you all. Love you all. Thank you so much. Today, we're going to be addressing exactly what I just talked about. That's going to be fertilizing seedlings. So seedlings come in all sorts of different shapes and varieties. Some grow slow, some grow fast. Some need to be transplanted right away. Some grow outside. Some need to be started inside. Some need a ton of light, and then some need a little bit less light. But one thing that most seedlings kind of agree upon is the fertilization schedule. So we're going to be talking about our indoor seedlings and fertilizing those. If we've got seedlings growing outside, all I do is make sure I've got a really nice solid compost base mixed with my soil in order to make sure that those seedlings do really well during the first few weeks of their life. And then periodically throughout the year, I also fertilize them as they grow older. But for fertilizing your seedlings that you grow indoors, this can be particularly crucial because they're not growing with any sort of microbiome in the soil in terms of mycorrhizal fungi and bacteria goes. Obviously, there's bacteria in these seed starting trays, but not really like the colonies of bacteria and fungi that you have outside. And believe it or not, those greatly increase the viability of your plants. If you grow in a mycorrhizome-rich environment, your plants are going to be doing a lot better than one that doesn't. So for indoor seedlings, I'm going to keep it really simple for you all because there's not much else to say. I just want to make sure you guys get this right and get the simple facts down, and that's what we're going to address in today's video. Do your seedlings have to be fertilized? No. For many years, I grew my seedlings without fertilizing them, and they grew fine. But if you want to grow your seedlings the best that you possibly can, and I know a lot of us worry about just growing the most beautiful, healthiest, most luscious vegetables and plants, or maybe you're growing perennial flowers. Heck, for all I know, I don't know a whole lot. I don't know what I was going to say there. For all I know, we're growing some vegetable seedlings, so that's what we're talking about. If you want the greatest vegetable seedlings that you can possibly get, fertilization is recommended, believe it or not. So what I want you to do, if you have to go out and fertilize your seedlings, I choose to because they're going to do better. So I just rather fertilize them than not fertilize them. But again, it's not needed, just desirable if you want really good plants. Next thing we want to talk about, and it's going to be really, really quick, is the time period on which we want to apply these fertilizers. Do we want to do it in a month or month and a half or 5 days as soon as they germinate? What's the answer? Really simply, either within 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks of your seedling germinating, or when you've got your first true leaves. So when you grow a seedling, the first pair that comes up is called the cotyledon leaves. These are not the true leaves of the plant. These eventually will shed off and provide the plant with no nutrients whatsoever. They basically just serve the purpose of breaking out of that shell, getting out of jail, heading up to the heavens. That's what those leaves are for. But after that point, those leaves are essentially worthless. So once you have your true set of leaves starting to develop, you can start fertilizing. Typically, this is about 2 to 4 weeks. So if you do buy a fertilizer, you get a water-soluble fertilizer, or better yet, a liquid fertilizer just like this one here. This is the Fox Farm Grow Big liquid plant food. So this actual fertilizer, this liquid fertilizer, gets mixed in with the water. So when I water my seedlings, if you don't know how I water my seedlings, I water them, I put about ½ an inch of water in the bottom of my seed starting tray. Make sure all that water soaks up. If it doesn't soak up within ½ an hour or 45 minutes, I'll dump out that extra water. Obviously, different soils do different things, so just make sure your seedlings stay moist, high humidity throughout their stages when they're growing indoors. But I'll mix this in. It actually specifies exactly what you should be doing for your seedlings when using this fertilizer. If they sell this on Amazon, I'll drop the link down below. All the support we can get is greatly, greatly appreciated. The faster, the quicker we can take this full time, the better for all of us, the better for the gardening community, because again, we put out great content all year round. What's not to enjoy? If you don't have a liquid fertilizer though, you can use something like this. This is Dr. Earth's Pure Gold Organic and Natural Handcrafted Blend. This is a 222 all-purpose fertilizer. I'm gonna get through this part really quick because we gotta talk about something more important, but you could use a fertilizer like this if perchance you were upsizing your seedling pods into like a red solo cup or whatever, maybe out in the garden or something like that. That's when you would want to mix this in with your soil. You're not going to want to mix this in with the water and then apply it. I stand corrected. This is water soluble. I was supposed to be talking about a fertilizer that's not water soluble. So if you don't have a water soluble fertilizer, you got to mix it in with the soil. But this one, you can make a fertilizer tea. Awesome. 5 cups per every 5 gallons of water that you mix in. And the very cool part about this fertilizer too is that it has soil microbes and mycorrhizae. This is the mycorrhizal fungi that I was talking about before. That's extremely crucial to your plants, even beyond fertilization needs. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. Liquid fertilizer, not liquid. What matters is if it's water soluble. If it's not water soluble, mix it in with your soil, but always make sure you've got some mycorrhizal fungi in that soil. Now, on to the point that I was trying to make before that's a little more critical. Is going to be the ratio of these fertilizers. You want a really nice, well-distributed, well-rounded Volkswagen Beetle of a fertilizer. Nice round edges for the whole thing. You don't want a 008, you don't want a 062, you don't want a 439, you don't want a 210. You don't want a 10-2-1. You don't want any of those. What you do want is as close of a ratio as possible. We want to provide these seedlings with just a nice, well-rounded fertilizer. That's got potassium, it's got phosphates, it's got nitrates, it's got Bacillus amyloliquofaciens, Bacillus licheniformis, Bacillus magitarium, Bacillus plumilis, Bacillus subtilis, Glomus aggregatum, Glomus clarum, Glomus deserticola, Glomus entinocodum, Glomus intraradices, Glomus massiae, Glomus monosporum, Paraglomus brassilinum, Diglospora migrata, Licaria lacata, Licaria bicolor, Basiliscus tinctorius, Rhizopogon vilicelis, Rhizopogon luteolus, Rhizopogon amylopogon, Rhizopogon volipigiliba, Sclerodema kepa, Sclerodema cinnamon, Sclerodema citrinum. I'm sorry, I know I pronounced all of those wrong. Okay, I'll just show you. There's all of these other things that are inside of it. That was just kind of a joke though, but for real though, the important part is that you've got a nice, well-rounded fertilizer, including mycorrhizal fungi, of course. Can't forget that fungi. So, people, just make sure you treat your plants right and they're gonna treat you well back. There's no set rule to gardening. There's no set rule to growing vegetable seedlings or really most plants that we're going to be growing around our home, unless we are some crazy agriculturalist trying to grow some rare plants. Most things do pretty well as long as you keep an eye on them and keep track of your past habits with those plants and how they've reacted to those different schedules or maintenance routines that you've given them. Pay attention to the signs that your plants are giving you of any sort of trouble that they're running into, and you'll probably be able to find a couple of little things that you can tweak here and there that ultimately will end up with a much greater harvest than if you just kind of ignored those things. Now, I'm not saying obsess or worry about your garden or stress over it. As a matter of fact, if your garden is stressing you out and you're not just doing it solely for income, then you're doing something wrong, because gardening is supposed to be the greatest stress reliever out there. And I'll tell you what, next to God, it is one of the greatest. So with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you've not yet subscribed and you found today's video entertaining, possibly a little bit educational at least, I would hope so, then I greatly implore you to join the community. We've got subscribers around the whole world learning and growing together, and I'd be happy to welcome you to the community as well. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Happy gardening, and we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget the mycorrhizal fungi!